Okay, I'm looking over Kanbei85's video, Presuppositional Apologetics, the Trap of Neutrality, and I'm just analyzing some of the things that he was making in his video. He believes that a Christian, from my understanding, from what I'm understanding from his video, he believes that Christian apologists need to use presuppositional apologetics because not using evidential apologetics is biased toward an atheist worldview. He's saying that the way that an atheist is forming his evidence is not neutral. It presumes atheism. Okay, I don't agree. He says that he gives an example of a cup. He holds a cup up on the video, and he says that, if somebody doesn't believe that I have a cup, if you tell them that you can prove that you have a cup based on them having faith that you share the same sensory data as the disbeliever, the disbeliever will say, "Well, I don't believe in sensory data. It has no meaning to me," because that's based upon their belief that there's no cup that exists. That doesn't mean that a cup does not exist. That means that their sensory data is flawed. Okay. The problem with him using a cup as an analogy is that a cup is obviously a visible entity. You're talking about an invisible entity. Okay, you're talking about an invisible entity which you make claims that is good, benevolent, angry, gonna send you to hell, has Lucifer. You make these claims and you expect us just to believe it because the book says so. Or there's some archaeological evidence of a flood, a local flood, that even if there was a world flood, that proves that Noah's Ark exists, so therefore that proves everything in the Bible is true. I mean, you have to show. I want to. Can you show me evidence that Moses is the true God of? I don't know, it's not true God, but the messenger of God. Can you prove that you're a messenger of God? That's ultimately what this conversation is about. The problem is that you haven't defined God, and even when we grant you that there's a creator of the universe, you still can't prove that you're the messenger. Because I think the thing is that when you guys debate atheists and you say that you're just trying to debate the existence of a creator of the universe, it falls flat, because when you're a Christian and evangelical, you believe that, no, there's not a creator of the universe. Actually, there's three people that created the universe. The Holy Spirit, which I have no idea how he's a person. It doesn't seem like a person to me. Jesus Christ is a person, and God the Father. And you say that they're the same person. And yet, and when people say that's illogical, you say, well, how dare you just don't understand. It's beyond your reasoning. I mean, anybody could use that claim, can use that cop-out in any illogical claim. If I say 3 + 3 = 7, and you demonstrate proof that it's not, and we'll say, well, you're perceiving it in the wrong way. That's how you perceive it in this world, but in another world, it equals 7. Because that's exactly what your biblical worldview is. Is that the claims that they make, some of the things that are in that Bible, you're trying to say that you have to have faith that God, this is true, and in another universe, which is heaven, you'll understand it. But you can say that in anything. You can say, I can say that I jump, and yes, we don't believe in these things, but we're making these analogies to say that it's plausible to make these statements. It doesn't matter whether I sincerely believe that this is possible. I know that you'll attack and say, well, you don't really believe that's a ridiculous comment. No, it's not about me believing it, but I'm going to make the example. I can make the claim that I can jump 20 feet in the sky, or at night I can jump 20 feet in the sky, and if somebody says, well, that's impossible, and I say, well, it's not possible to me because I jumped 20 feet in the sky. Well, you could say, well, the general rule of gravity says that you can't do it, or the absolute law, there's no. And I can say, well, have you seen every single subject in this universe? I can say, have you seen every single subject in this universe? No. So based on that, why is the claim that I can jump 20 feet in the sky, which some people who are labeled crazy would make? Because you know, what's reality? Okay, if you're saying that Christian, you're saying the Bible reflects reality. Okay, you're trying to say the Bible, people dividing the Red Sea, people turning water into wine, can be mapped into this reality. Well, can you show me somebody that can make water into wine? No, you say, well, you have to trust us. Trusting a claim that has not been demonstrated is not corresponding to reality. This reality. I'm saying a lot of things, but these are acting as if atheists are just trying to find ways to dispute the Bible. When I read the Bible as a Christian, I wanted to believe in the Bible, but I can't sit there and say, well, I'm going to believe in the Bible no matter what it says. When I read some of the stuff in the Bible, it doesn't make sense. It's just that simple. It doesn't matter whether this Bible is utilitarian, it gives you meaning. That doesn't give you the excuse to say that it makes sense. I mean, Ken, you're a smart person. And I believe you're a smart, intelligent person, and I do believe that you're smarter than somebody claim. You're intelligently trying to justify something cannot be intelligibly justified. You can't use the excuse, well, it's beyond our comprehension. Water going to wine, this beyond our comprehension. We can't explain it. It's in another universe, so it doesn't mean it's silly. It just means that we can understand it. But if I made the claim I jumped 20 feet in the sky and landed and I was uninjured, you would believe that. Okay. Your cop out is that, well, the Bible, all these these forms of magic or supernatural ability ended in the New Testament. That's ridiculous to me. That's your only cop. So you're not going to use science. You're not going to use the general principle of science. You're going to use the book. Okay, that makes more sense to you. Honestly, does that make more sense to you? If it does, fine. But to me, when you tell us that your biblical worldview maps into reality, a Christian worldview, not just a theistic worldview, but a Christian theistic worldview matches into reality, and then when we tell you, when you hear people believe in talking animals, how does that map into reality? Because we talk? Maybe. What proof do animals? Where on earth should we believe that animals ever talked? But yes, you can cop out and say, well, perhaps sometime, back in another dimension or another time period, animals could talk. And you see the things you'll say, well, perhaps you were not one of those Protestants that believe that. And you'll say, well, that's stupid, and that's metaphorical, obviously, because why not? If you believe in a world of flood, okay, if you believe Jesus Christ rose from the dead, cheated death, if you believe Jesus Christ turned water into wine, who are you to say that an animal did not talk? And if you're saying animals did talk back in the day, and you're just telling us that we should believe in this claim based upon faith, not science, just faith, trust in people who claim to talk to God and claim to perform magic, or what you would call supernatural ability in predicting the future and healing people and dividing the Red Sea. These supernatural acts that were claimed in the book, which you did not see, you should just accept on faith. You're telling me you have you are an authority of what reality is? Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting there saying you seem like a very intelligent person. Okay. I'm not trying to attack you or any other apologist who tries to present this view. But for you to ignore or somehow override, okay, just somehow just not really see why, or just intimate or presuppose that an atheist willfully, he sees evidence of the Christian worldview and rejects it, or even or sees evidence of a created world by a personal designer and rejects it. I don't understand how an intelligent person such as yourself can even think this. Okay. Okay. The Christian worldview that you present to me, because perhaps you don't believe in the biblical flood, but many do. I mean, it's not, the Catholics, there's now modern Catholics that will believe Jesus Christ is God, but yet there's not a world flood, and that's silly. Okay? To them, that's silly. And they're trying to be sophisticated, but yet the problem is that in their very own faith, it's not that I don't think they're giving, it's not that just because they're reading the same Bible, but they believe in certain miracles that are just as outlandish. Okay? If you believe in a world of flood, and if you believe in creationism, which I think you may, how can you believe in a worldview? And when I look at the Bible, I don't see a worldview that maps into reality. I don't see a society that is modern, that is civilized, compared to our modern society. That's not an atheist worldview. You can still be a deist and believe in that. It doesn't really matter. But see, the problem is, in my worldview, it doesn't matter. In your worldview, it does matter. It doesn't matter. You talk about the source of everything, a source of reality. The source of reality is irrelevant if you can't define. If you know the source of reality and you don't, the source of reality is not reality. Okay? If you can't interpret reality correctly, you can know the source all you want. Okay? What does it matter if you don't understand reality as it is? I know the source of reality. What does it matter? What do you have? You know the source of reality. Okay, well, let's say that you're right. You know that God created the universe. So what? That doesn't give you any authority on what the universe is, because I perceive the universe just as much as you do. You say that we're in God's world. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't validate the Bible. So what? That doesn't validate Jesus Christ being a man and God. And these are all the issues that you have to deal with as a Christian apologist. Okay? It's not atheists trying to reject. It's not hard for us to reject your Bible. It really isn't. Your evidence, the evidence that you're presenting is not evidence, because I'll tell you what, Muslims present the same weak evidence for their Quran. And many of the presuppositional apologists, or many of the Christian apologists, use our type of scientific reasoning to debunk them. That's why I call out hypocrisy. Maybe not you, maybe you're not analyzing Muslims, but in some way in Christian apologetics, when it says that people are not neutral or biased toward Christianity, and they just don't believe in God, and they're willfully not believing in God. Let me just say this. Most atheism, when it comes from a Gnostic level, is an agnostic form of belief. The atheism is in practice, okay? We don't walk around as if a God exists, because I don't walk around as if aliens exist. That's the difference. You walk around as if a God exists, and as if it is fact. And it is only logical to you, not based on reality, but based upon some psychological needs you have. And no matter how intelligent you are, you will be able to use that intelligence to create a delusion that it's actually rational. Now, you could call it what you may. You could call us what you may. Fools, heathens, whatever. You could use every biblical verse to justify your claims about atheism and even other non-Christians. Because let's face it, a Jew might as well be an atheist, according to many Orthodox Christians. I'm sure there's some evangelical Christians that believe all of them will be saved and they'll be meeting the Lord because they believe in one God, but there are many who don't. And that's another problem. How can, if the concept of, let's just say Christianity, you believe God, Jesus Christ is God, you believe God the Father, you believe in the Trinity, you believe in every single one of the fundamental doctrines of Christianity, why is it within this faith there's so much moral disagreement, so much even moral disagreement? Because moral disagreement is essential for salvation. It's not the only thing, but it's essential for salvation according to Christian belief. I'm not saying following in it, and I'm going to be fair about this. I'm saying being committed to those moral doctrines. I'm not saying that you can't break them, but you do not purposely break them. You take them seriously. Does not mean that you cannot fall and make a mistake not following them, but you are recommitting yourself every single day to follow them. How come there is so much moral disagreement among how to worship, how to treat man within the Protestant and the Catholic sects of Christianity? You believe in the same God, you believe Jesus Christ is God, but yet you have disagreement. How can you sit there and posit that this worldview is an objective worldview and this is a true worldview of the universe? You're just another person who says that they have the correct, vital, essential knowledge of salvation. Just another person to me. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. You probably won't, but have a nice day.